Good afternoon, I'm Spencer Collins. I'm president of the Austin Woods and Waters Club. I'm going to wait for some people to trickle in as we get our viewers online here. And so I'm going to talk a little bit. I guess I'll tell a fishing story is what I'm running up to do for now. So, since coronavirus hit in Austin, I call the coronavirus effective date. I'm in the real estate business, so we use that effective date term a lot in my business. But the effective date of coronavirus was March 13th. And so, since then, I've had I got a little place down the coast in Corpus on the water, and I do vacation rentals out of it. And so, needless to say, those have gone crashed way down. And my daughter's a club volleyball player, and so that season got canceled. So one of the good things out of coronavirus is we've gotten to go isolate, my family and I, down in Corpus, and we've gotten a bunch of fishing done. So what a blessing that has been. The coronavirus has gave me a blessing to go fishing with my wife and daughter, and my wife has caught a personal best 26-inch redfish, and my daughter has caught a personal best 22-inch trout. So, man, those are cool things here. All right, we're still waiting for a few more of our viewers to come in. They can populate in, Jimmy. All right, while we're waiting for them to populate in, today we have on our cameraman is Jimmy Kane. He's got his mask on, we all do, except for when we're talking. And so Jimmy's a past club president. He's in charge of our speakers each month. He arranged for us to be here at ArcheryCountry today. We also have Richard Hallam. He's watching the Facebook feeds back over there. And so we're going to have some questions. We're going to have some questions, trivia questions, and other things throughout the broadcast, and we'll reach out to Richard. If you have a question for any of our presenters, please type your question in, and Richard will get that question to the experts here who are going to talk about archery in a little bit. And then I mentioned trivia questions. One last thing. We normally are meeting at the Ben Hur Shrine Temple, and so we're off Rockwood Lane. That's our monthly meeting place. And we have Daver's cater our luncheon. So obviously we don't have that today. So whatever you're eating at home, at office, whatever, let Richard know what you're eating. Whoever has the most creative, whoever gets the meat, tells Richard whatever meal that Richard likes the best. It could be barbecue, it could be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Share what you're eating for lunch with Richard, and he's going to select somebody with a meal, with their meal, and they're going to get a hat and a koozie from Austin Woods and Waters Club. Okay, let me go into some announcements here. Again, welcome to the May membership meeting of Austin Woods and Waters Club, where we like to hunt and fish and talk about it. This will be our first online live meeting and Facebook Live, so bear with us if we make some mistakes. They're going to be made, and we'll figure them out and get better at this at some point in the future. If you're tuning in and not a member of our club, we ask you to watch what this is all about. It's basically some guys getting together once a month and talking about hunting and fishing, and we have some hunting and fishing trips that we have that are club sponsored. Obviously, we can have some trips outside of the club sponsored ones, and we get together once a month and we talk about those hunting and fishing trips. So we're a social club, and we'd love for you to join us. If you're on our Facebook page, which you should be because you're live, there is a sign up button on there for you to become a member. Our membership dues are $75 per year, and that gets you access to all our club events throughout the year. We have some social activities as well. We were supposed to go and we were supposed to go to Salt Traders Restaurant late last month, a few weeks ago, and of course we had to cancel that. That was going to be a fun event. And then we have a banquet at the end of towards the end of the year, October. This year our banquet's at October 8th, Thursday, October 8th. And so it's at the TDS facility, Texas Disposal System Wild Game Ranch. That's a function of the McBride's Foundation. So we have our social club, which is the Austin Woods and Waters Club. And we have a give back effort too. That's the McBride's Foundation. So we give back those money raised from that banquet. We give back to kids groups. We ask for grants. Last year we awarded 19 grants ranging from $500 to $2,000 to these 19 organizations. And those organizations get kids into the outdoors. If you sign up as a new member today, then you will get the Austin Woods and Waters cap and koozie. So please sign up today. We'll get you a Woods and Waters cap and koozie. All right, we'll talk about that. Please give us some feedback on this meeting. Whether you send it to me by email, I'm Spence at matexas, S-P-E-N-C-E at matexas.com. You can give us a contact on our webpage. Our webpage is austinwoodsandwaters.org. There's a place that you can leave a comment. We'd love to hear your feedback about this meeting today. Lastly, before I introduce Alan McGraw, we have an award-winning newsletter called The Game Bag. John Jefferson produces that, edits and produces that each month, and so that can be emailed into your inbox or to you by mail if you don't get email. So it's got all of our activities. There's our calendar on the back. There's something about our today's program. There's a president's message on page 2 and a bunch of other stuff, fishing in Port O'Connor. There's John Jefferson about a shotgun he tried. Good publication here. So with that said, I've talked enough. It's time to introduce Mr. Alan McGraw. He's one of 3 owners of ArcheryCountry, and he's going to talk to us today about getting into archery. If you've never been into archery, like me, they're going to show you how to get into archery with some introductory type of equipment. Also, for your seasoned archers out there, they've got some of the latest and greatest technology and gadgets and stuff like that to show you as well. A little while later in this presentation, we're going to go to the back. They have a range, indoor range back there, and so we'll get in there and do some shooting as well. Crossbows, compound bows, reflex bows. These are all new terms I've learned. And so with that said, please come in, Alan. Alan is a club member. He's also won the Lions Sportsman of the Year award a couple of years ago. And he is an avid archery. He's killed the 4 North American sheep, all by archery, which is quite an accomplishment, I've been told. Mr. Alan McGraw.
Thanks, Spence. Okay, we're going to do a quick move because our viewers are telling us there's too much background noise, so we're going to scoot back that way real quick. Look the scooting again. I think the acoustics will be a little bit better in here than they were out in the big room. So just want to welcome everybody to this really interesting first virtual Woods and Waters meeting that we've ever had. Let me introduce you to one of my partners, Tyler Vanderkolk.
Howdy.
This is Tyler. He actually runs the day-to-day operations of the business. He has Animal Art Taxidermy right across the street. And so you'll see him here most times if you come down here. Our other partner, Brendan Hansen, could not be here today. Brendan is a 6-time Olympic medalist in swimming. He's a great guy, but he works for the Olympics now because of all the stuff going on. He actually got tied up today and wasn't able to be here with us. So anyway, this is going to be a little bit different. We're going to kind of just talk about archery in general and then maybe go have a little fun when we're all said and done. But what we wanted to do is talk about, for somebody who wants to get into archery for the first time, what do you do? And if you came in there's two basic overriding questions that have to be asked. The first is, why are you doing this? And we'll go into that a little bit more detail. Then the second would be, what kind of equipment do you want to use? And the why you're doing this, why do you want to get into archery? It could be for target archery, it could be for recreational archery, it could be for hunting, it could be for all of the above. And when we say what kind of equipment do you want to use, we're talking, do you want to shoot traditional equipment? Do you want to shoot compounds? Do you want to shoot the ever-changing crossbow? And that's something about what we wanted to talk about today. And so Tyler, let's go and let's talk about why you would want to do this, what the different types of archery are. And the first would be what I would call target or recreational archery.
Target, recreational. That's basically your two. You've got hunting, target, recreation. You've got all of this stuff you can do and have fun with. So when you're starting out, you're going to walk in the store. We're going to greet you. We're going to basically go over that right out of the chute. It's going to be, some people have no desire to hunt whatsoever. They could care less about it. They just want to shoot targets and have fun with the family. Other people want to hunt, all that stuff. So long story short, when you come in, we're going to measure you. We're going to do some stuff like that. But you've got your different styles of bows. So you've got recurves over here, which are stick and string.
So this is what, when we talk about traditional, you're talking about a recurve, you're talking about a long bow. There's no mechanical parts on this. It literally is a stick. This happens to be a very nice stick and a very nice string.
For sure.
But that's what you're talking about is traditional. The true traditional,
The really
traditional, if you want to get into real traditional, I actually had this made for me in Zimbabwe on my first trip to Africa. And it really is a stick and a string that they put together. So you can see a little bit of the difference in technology between just chopping down a little tree and putting a string on it versus what we're talking about here with
handles
with the traditional. Yeah. So
sure.
Just wanted to show where we've come from.
Yeah.
From what archery really started as.
Yeah. So here's the cool thing about the traditional world is that when you get one of these bows, this is something I can get you in a light enough poundage on this to where you can shoot it, your mom can shoot it, your kid, your 5-year-old kid can shoot it, everybody in the family can shoot it. So you can get one of these, you can get a target, and y'all can all go to the backyard or to the green belt or to the park or whatever and have fun with it. And from a money standpoint, it's not that bad of an investment to get everybody into it. The next step up from this would be going to compound bows. And when you get into compound bows, it's the same conversation you're having in that world. Are you hunting with it? Are you target shooting with it? There's all different kinds of stuff. And there's variables on each of those. So some guys that do target archery get into shooting 3D targets, foam animals at various yardages, ranges, stuff like that. Some guys care nothing about that. There's a whole slew of people that go in and do just target archery where they're shooting rings on a piece of paper and they travel all over the state of Texas doing that. That's their main objective and goal and what they do to have fun with.
And we'll show some of that in a minute.
For sure.
When we get back into the range. Within that target archery, you've got some guys who are shooting it with compounds, right? And you've got some guys who are doing it with traditional. And there's so many different levels of that. And again, it's really what are you trying to do and what do you want to do? Some people like me, I love to shoot targets, but it's basically all in preparation of hunting. So I shoot target archery with the same thing I shoot with the same hunting equipment that I use because that's what I'm practicing for. Others, as Tyler said, there's no interest at all in hunting. It's all about target, so they're going to set up that rig specifically for target shooting, and then they may have a separate rig for hunting.
Yep, exactly. So I guess going into the compound world, so this would be a compound bow. Cams and wheels, some of them have, the older ones have wheels, some of them have cams. This has cams on it.
Real quick, let's show Rambo. Some of you may have seen Rambo was actually on First Blood Part 2 last night. It was on television, And this,
Alan's a fan.
I'm a huge fan, and this was actually, this is a Hoyt Easton Rambo, built in 1986, and it was actually built for that movie, Rambo, and you can hold up and you can see just kind of the difference in technology. It used to have just round wheels. These were actually laminated wooden limbs, and you compare that to the cams today, and there's no wood anywhere in that bow. And it's just again, it's the technology in the compound bow has changed tremendously
night and day
since the compound bow was invented in the 70s. So it's a lot different. Traditional has stayed pretty, other than the stick from Zimbabwe. Traditional has stayed pretty true to itself, but the compound bow has changed tremendously.
Yep, and it changes so much. A 5-year difference in bows is a world of difference these days. Every year they get, you don't think they can, but they do. They get faster, they get shorter, they get whatever. So,
that's just a bare.
Yeah.
Could you just start shooting that as it is?
You could not shoot this as it is.
You
You could, but it would have.
It would be.
It
would be a mess.
Yeah. So when you buy a bow, first thing you're going to do, we're going to measure you, do all that stuff, but then we're going to go into the stuff that goes on it. So you need a rest to shoot off of. A lot of times you need a sight on your bow. Stabilizers help, a quiver helps to carry stuff. There's a whole slew of stuff. So when people talk about coming in and buying a bow, they're talking about this, but they don't know they need all this other stuff to kind of get going. And some of it's a necessity, some of it's not. A rest is always a necessity.
A quiver is not. This is my bow. I happen to like a bow quiver, which is a quiver attached to the bow, because for my personal preference on hunting, I like it a lot better. So, to me, it's easier. There's also quivers that go in your on a belt. There's quivers that go on your back. There's different ways that you can carry your arrows other than on your bow, and that really does get into a personal preference.
For sure.
But you can see the sights. You can see the stabilizer. And so when we talk about a rigged out bow, one that you could actually go out and shoot, and the rest. That's what you're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
And just to be fair, so there's all different levels and variables of all of this stuff. So when you start, you don't necessarily have to go for broke on all the stuff. You can go in and buy pretty good, decent starter packages that will have everything you kind of need on it.
So talk about what price points on compound bows are today.
So compound bows in particular, at least here, are going to start about $500. There are other stores and stuff like that where you can go get a compound bow for cheaper than that, and that's totally fine. If you're getting into it and you're just wanting to get into the sport and get your feet wet and figure out what it's all about, totally fine. Most guys come here when they get next level because they're ready to step up to the best stuff that you can get your hands on and all that. Our starter stuff is going to start in the $400 to $500 range. That's going to be a bow much like this, just like this, with a rest, a stabilizer, a quiver, all that stuff on it. And to get you, usually another $100 gets you out the door on everything. So you're looking at like $500 to get out the door, and that would be for arrows, for the release, for a little target to shoot, a bow, kind of everything. And that's where we're going to start here in Archery Country. With that being said, you've got all kinds of accessories you can add and take away from, and a lot of guys will end up starting with a bow like this, and they'll do a bunch of research and they'll say, man, I realize that your rest holds the tune, so I want to upgrade my rest just starting out, and they'll start by adding better components on their beginner bow until they can save up the money so you don't have to come in and have one big hurtful credit card bill all at once.
All right, so you talk about the hold the tune. So can you take a bow, slap a rest on it, go pull any arrow off the shelf, set it up however you want, and just start shooting, and it shoots perfectly?
No.
No.
Right. So when you
explain what you've got to do to get it fit for you.
So when you come in, we're going to pull a measurement on you, and what that measurement is going to be I can show you. I've got a wingspan like a 747 here. We're going to spread your arms like that. We're going to pull a measurement from tip to tip, and we're going to divide that by 2.5, and that 2.5 is going to give us a number of where we're going to start. So that number will be, say, 28.4. So we're going to say you're about a 28.5-inch draw on this bow. This bow in particular has a bunch of little notches and numbers here and stuff. We can move this to 28.5 inches, and then we're going to bring you in this room right here, and we're going to draw it back, and we're going to see what it looks like on you, and it just gives us a starting place is what it basically does.
And the draw length is when you're drawing the bow.
Yep. When you're drawing the bow.
When you're drawing the bow, that's your draw length.
Exactly.
And if you just, you don't want it too long, or you're back here, you don't want it too short.
Yep.
You're trying to get it where it keeps you good and relaxed when you're shooting.
Exactly. There's a bunch of variables there, and poundage plays a big key in it. A lot of the starter bows have a super variance on the weight that you can put them at. In other words, you can go down to 30 pounds and you can go up to 70 pounds, as to where when you get into more of a hunting specific type bow, you've got 10 pounds of range there. These guys will let you go about it so you can build up your weight, you can build up whatever you kind of need to do to get to what you're trying to accomplish. Compound, 90% of the people that come through our shop at least are looking to get into hunting. That's their ultimate goal. They've seen somebody on social media do it or something like that, and that's what they're wanting to do. So we're going to go into that with them, as far as we're going to specifically say, well, cool, if you're doing it, I would get this kind of sight, because this is going to be easier for you when you're in your hunting scenarios and stuff like that. We're going to gear it towards what you need.
And we'll talk about arrows and broadheads in a few minutes.
Sure.
But right now, just more talking about the bow. Talk a bit about the people that are not hunting, though, because I think the fastest growing that we're seeing
for sure
is people that aren't wanting to hunt. They just want to come in and shoot.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about what it looks like around here on a Saturday with just non-traditional people in there shooting.
So our Saturdays are the smorgasbord, man. There's everybody here. It's women, kids, all races, all religions, everything. They're all here. Just because archery's fun. It's just a fun sport. There's nothing, no whatever on it. Yeah, it's easy to do. It's fun. You can all have fun with it, and the family can have fun with it. And that's what we're seeing more of, is like family units come in, and they're getting one bow, but they're all shooting it. Mom, dad, kids, everybody's kind of doing it all at the same time.
And you can rent. You don't have to buy.
Yeah, we have rental bows. They're light poundage recurves where you can come in and just have fun for an hour, or however long until your arms give out.
Before we talk about crossbow, let's do a quick trivia question. All right, and if you, what do? They email in,
Type the answer on Facebook.
The trivia question. The first trivia question is: who is the founder of Matthews Archery? Who was the founder of Matthews Archery? And so whoever the first one to get that answer in to Richard, we've got an ArcheryCountry hat for you, and then we're going to have a follow-up trivia question at the end. So let's talk about equipment. Let's talk about crossbows, because one of the fastest changing technologies that we've seen over the last 5 years has been the crossbow. So talk about
this whole thing's crazy. So here's the beauty of a crossbow. There's a couple things that are really cool about a crossbow. Number one, in the state of Texas, you can hunt with this during an archery season. So for all you guys that always get ticked off and say, the freaking bow hunters go on my deer lease and they shoot all the big deer before us rifle hunters get to go get in our stands, well, here's how you get in the stand in October. It's still a point and shoot weapon. It's got a scope, it's got a trigger, it's just like a rifle, just doesn't have quite the range of a rifle. The beauty of these is, once they're kind of dialed in and all that, you're good. You don't mess with it, you don't touch it, you don't anything. So you've got something that is good out to 100 yards, 100 plus yards if you want it. Me and Alan happen to be on a deer lease together where we've got a older guy that's on the lease, and he wants to hunt during bow season and is not capable of pulling back these bows. So Brendan went ahead and got him one of these, and it's one of those deals. We're putting him in rifle stands, feeding out at 50, 60 yards, and he's smoking deer with one of these. So that's the beauty of these guys. That's what's kind of changed the world in these in particular, is that it lets you get in the stand, it lets you get out early and all that, and you don't have to practice with it a whole bunch and spend a whole bunch of time trying to learn your equipment.
Our winner is Kirk Worthington.
Kurt Worthington is the winner, who knew that Matt McPherson was the founder of Matthews Archery. So, Kurt, we're going to have a hat for you. Let Richard know how we can get the hat to you.
He's in here all the time.
Oh, he's okay. All right. All right, we'll get that.
Come by here.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do, since we've got an answer to that, I'm going to do the follow-up trivia question real quick. Now that we have that Matt McPherson is the founder of Matthews Archery, what other company did Matt McPherson create that also involves strings? So Matt McPherson has another company that he created that also involves strings. So we'll try to get an answer to that question.
Wow, my face is too dark. Now it's not dark.
So the other thing about crossbows that Tyler mentioned is it does not take, I hate to say much skill, but it doesn't take a whole lot to be able to shoot one of these. And we're going to prove that in a few minutes with Spence Collins, because Spence has never shot a crossbow. Is that right, Spence?
That is correct.
He's sworn to me under oath that he's never shot a crossbow in his life. So we're going to take him back in a few minutes. We've got a crossbow in the back. We're going to sit down and we're going to see on his very first shot ever out of crossbow how well he does. But I've taken my daughter out, let her shoot a few bolts through a crossbow, and then she's gone out and she's shot deer with it before. But it really does not take the preparation and time and the practice that you've got to put into traditional archery. That takes a whole lot more. Yeah, Jimmy's giving you one of these. You also it doesn't take the strength either, because you've got mechanisms to help you draw these things. But it allows you to extend your season. And so it's really, this is a huge, fast-growing part of the sport of archery is crossbows. That's why we wanted to bring that out. And then we're going to see how well Spence does here in a few minutes. So
Cool.
Yeah. So let's talk about hunting a minute.
Sure.
So let me ask you. So why do you hunt with archery? What's the draw to it?
Yeah. So hunting with archery it gets you so much closer to the game you're pursuing. I hate to say it's more of a rush, but it's more of a rush. You get a lot more of a endorphin rush, or whatever you want to call it, trying to draw back a bow when there's an animal at 10 yards in front of you, 15 yards in front of you. That for me is what did it for me. I was looking for more of a challenge. I was, tired of rifle hunting, and it seemed too easy, and that was the next progressive step in that process. So,
well, and that's been it for me as well. Is that you get so much more, in my opinion. Absolutely nothing wrong with rifle hunting, and it's not
sure
knock that. But you get so much more out of that close encounter with the game when you can literally see the eyelashes flashing, and you can hear the corn crunching, and you can all those different things that you see when you're that close to an animal. And then I like to do a lot of spot and stalk hunting up in the mountains, and just being out and trying to get within their super close range to try to take something with a bow, and you end up there. You have a lot more unsuccessful hunts than you do successful hunts, and you just got to be willing to accept that, because that's high risk.
But even in the unsuccessful part of that deal, you still feel like you've accomplished something because you were within a certain range. You just couldn't make this one movement of it. So you get a lot more. I get a lot more joy out of that.
Well, yeah, I was in Mason just a couple of weeks ago turkey hunting. The bluebonnets were blooming.
Yep.
So I had my bow. I'm out trying to find a turkey. Every time I call, they go away from me. But you're out. It was a beautiful morning in the bluebonnets. While you're out, you break out a fly rod, you fish a little bit, climb up on some rocks, and when I'm done with that whole day, I'm thinking, if this was an unsuccessful hunt, man, I can't wait to feel what a successful hunt, because it was just an incredible experience being out in the outdoors like that.
Sure.
But to me, that's why I do.
No, that's me too.
Some it's not necessarily the bow hunting, but they're very much interested in the, shall we call it, organic food supply. What's more natural and more organic than animals walking around in the wild,
Yep.
eating wild plants. I mean, to
For
me,
sure.
that's
And that's a whole new and to expand upon that, there's a whole slew of people that are literally coming into our shop for that specific reason. They are wanting to get into it because of the organic meat and all that. That's the whole deal.
We have another winner, Daryl Barnett. Got our answer correct.
Daryl
McPherson.
Barnett, McPherson Guitars.
Right.
So Matt McPherson was very much into vibrations. Let me say that correctly. Vibrations.
Be careful.
And so in doing the archery, so much of what his experience and technology and expertise went into in the bow was reducing the vibration and making a very vibration-free bow. Well, that same technology is going into guitars because it's still vibrations of string. So yeah, so that's our winner, and we'll let us know how to get in touch with you, and we'll get an ArcheryCountry hat to you as well.
Yep.
By the way, Matthew's archery was not his first foray into archery. He actually started McPherson Archery well prior to that, and that was not a successful venture. And Matthew's archery came later. Just in case.
Pretty cool.
A little bit more
History
more
lesson.
trivia. All right, why don't let's go out and let's look at some arrows and broadheads, and we'll talk about that real quick, and then we're going to go back in the back and embarrass
Sure.
spins. That sound like a plan?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Hi, y'all. Okay, we're still live. Okay, we're still live. We were going to get some information from Jake here, but he's eating, so I guess we're not. All right, so now we're at arrows and broadheads. So Tyler, tell them how they're going to decide what arrow to use depending on what they're using it for.
So in the arrow world, there's a slew of options here. The reality is, the arrow is specific to what you're trying to do with your hunt or with your target or with anything like that. So by that, I mean if you are going on to Africa, and let's say on a Cape Buffalo hunt, you're going to want a heavy arrow just to try and get as much penetration, as much everything as you can out of that arrow into a thick-hided animal, as opposed to going to our deer lease and mason again, and where any one of these will work. Most of these arrows are all in a certain grain. It's really specific to what you specifically are wanting to do. Alan does a lot of like sheep hunting and stuff like that. When he goes, he likes a flat flying, lighter weight arrow. But that can totally change if a guy comes in and says, by the way, I'm going to Africa and I'm trying to shoot in England. So it's kind of specific for what you want it to be. But
And also price.
sure, price point, yeah. Price point's on another deal on it. We have them going from basically $7 all the way to $20 an arrow. Yeah. And then kind of like I said, it goes into what you're trying to do with it at the end of the day.
All right, so let's talk about religion.
So yeah.
Now we're going to talk about religion and politics. So this is where everybody's going to get mad and start fighting.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about broadheads.
Yeah.
Okay, and broadheads are like religion, and they're like politics, and everybody's is the right answer. Right?
Exactly. Everybody has the right answer.
So,
Yeah. There's the reality is there's fixed blade broadheads and there's mechanical broadheads. There's a whole slew of people out there that will tell you if it's mechanical, it's prone to failure, and that's why I don't use them. There's other guys like me that have shot them at everything that I've ever shot at, and I've killed a lot of stuff. So.
yeah, so I don't know if you can get the eland up here. So this is the largest antelope in the world. It's the eland from Africa.
Yep.
And conventional wisdom would say, don't shoot that with an expandable broadhead. And of course, Tyler killed it with an expandable broadhead. So,
Yep.
me on the other hand, I like for shooting large stuff. I like shooting the fixed blade, 2-blade broadhead. Shot moose, elk, lots of stuff, aoudad that are thick, thick and large with these. But also, if I'm out in a mason shooting a smaller deer, I might shoot a small expandable. And so it really is, it's personal preference, what you're going after. But
It really is religion and politics. You can definitely get in some fights with people that will tell you, they will look you square in the eye and say, you cannot kill a big animal with a rage broadhead. But I did it right there. That's a 2,000-pound animal.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, we always stock a whole slew of them. We've got a bunch of them always in stock. So
There's lots of
you come in
different
and
religions. And
make your own, yeah, make your own call there.
now, I will say, for those of you fishermen out there, broadheads, there's a lot of broadheads that are just like fishing lures. They are designed to catch fishermen, not fish. And there's a whole lot of marketing. I mean, you can just look at the colors. There's a whole lot of marketing going on back here. And we try to carry the very best, but there's a lot of broadheads that really are, they're like fishing lures. They're designed to catch the fishermen. So that's where it really does get into your personal preference and what you want to use and what you're going after.
Yep.
All right, can we go shoot a little bit?
Sure.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to the range. We're going to start with Spence and his crossbow. And we actually have a guest with us, Steve Ignolio, and he and I are going to have a little contest, and one of us or both of us are going to lose a $20 arrow in a few minutes. And we'll explain what we mean by that. So, are we ready to go back? Okay, you got your bow, Steve?
Yeah.
Okay. Eddie, can we film you shooting one shot? Okay, by the way, so this is Eddie. So we wanted to show a different, so Eddie is shooting a traditional target bow. You'll notice it's a recurve bow, but it's a target bow, and he's shooting spots. So Eddie, let it fly.
Show us how it's done, Eddie. You're on the spot.
Perfect,
Bullseye.
perfect shot.
I like it.
Oh. Okay, hang on. All right, Tyler, come set Spence up on the crossbow.
So, I probably should have this done before, but you'll get to see the process of setting up a.
You can see that. We're all beginners.
Everybody's a beginner here. So, on this one in particular, you're just hooking these on the string, and then you're just pulling up.
So when you're in the deer blind or deer stand or wherever you are,
Sure.
do you have that cocked from the time
So,
you enter?
I usually do, it's just like when you get in the stand, you'll take the cups off your rifle scope and you'll kind of set your water where you want it, your rangefinder and all that. I normally do, so I've heard some guys do, but I normally do. I'll have it.
So it doesn't
Not really like that.
hurt it in any capacity, long-term damage to have it cocked
No.
for any extended period
Not
of
for,
time.
no, you don't want to do it cocked for a long time, but if you've got it cocked for an hour or 2 hours, 3 hours per sit, it's not hurting anything.
All right.
And it's just like a rifle. So, a trigger, you've got a scope, you've got safety and a fire thing on there. So, what I'll do, we'll get this guy. I'm going to face it down this way just so we can try and stay safe. So you kind of put it in, and then, so it's easier for me just to kneel down. I don't know if you can do that, if that's all right. Here's your safety and your fire. So when you're ready to fire, okay, you're just pushing that forward, okay, and you're off. So the only thing to be careful of on a crossbow, they have these little phalanges right here. You just want to keep your fingers underneath that at all times.
Alright.
Below that at all?
Any other tips you're holding out on the door?
Nope. Go for it.
So
So
the target Spence is shooting at, by the way, that buck down there is iron. It's made of steel, and it's got a hole in it. And Spence has got to get our expensive, that's actually your arrow, through that hole, or else it's going to destroy it. So Spence has sworn he's never done this before.
All right, how's my positioning here?
You look great, man.
Just shoot that orange dot.
You're ready to roll.
Yeah.
That top crosshair is the
Yeah,
one you
so
want
I'm
to
looking
use.
through this crosshair, and there's 5 levels here, and I guess the top one's the shortest,
Yep. Top one
distance,
is your
and-
shortest distance.
and then the bottom one is I go up like that, that gives you some
safety whenever you're ready.
Tyler, what's the distance?
20 yards. This is 20 yards.
Hey!
Whoa! There we go.
They don't call me dead eye for nothing.
So can you run down and show, just for the proof?
So if that was a deer, you just smooth it. You just I was gonna make fun of you if you missed it, but it's pretty proficient.
All right. Vince, congratulations.
They just spread you around. Go to my last round.
I'm cleaner than you. Okay, so now we're going to have a little quick contest. All right, we're going to have a quick little contest with that iron butt. Anybody else want to ruin an arrow? No. All right, Steve,
Don't ruin an arrow in there today.
all right. So Steve Ignolio is here with us. And what you can see how big that hole is. The deal is this hole is going to get smaller and smaller.
I guess it would be a good idea.
This is one way not to break an arrow.
Sweet.
Oh, Steve, man.
You didn't tell me to shoot like that.
Blind hog gets acre.
Blind squirrel.
All right, Tyler, how do we?
Let's zoom in. I think we can zoom.
We got to. Oh yeah, now we got to go small.
We're gonna go make it smaller.
All right, Jimmy, run on down. So one of the things that is very popular now, you can see, is this lighted knot. It really does help. Okay,
So we're gonna go to this one.
we normally like practice to get that small, but
One of the many amenities here at Archery Country.
this is one of our big arrow cells things.
Arrow eater.
Yeah.
Time for the. It's time to get into Steve's wallet. I mean,
The last time we did this and we had this competition, we had a mariachi band this year, and you had to shoot during the mariachi band. Yeah.
I think this is gonna be a quick exit.
oh, you got it. I got faith. Oh man!
And that sound you heard was an arrow splintering into pieces.
Missed it by that much,
No,
Keith.
you didn't.
Luckily, we sell those for $15.99 here at Archery Country, so we'll get him another one.
All right.
Oh yeah!
That sound you heard was also an arrow disintegrating into pieces.
We're going to stop right there.
Let's go ahead and call that.
Time of death, 12.
There's $40 down the drain.
Pull our arrows.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for inviting us into Archery Country here today and about some of the newest and latest and greatest stuff in archery. It was fun, at least on this side of the camera it was. Hopefully on that side of the camera it was just as fun for you.
Whoa, come here.
All right.
Oh man!
Did you go through?
Or did you just stick it through?
I'll be damned. It hit it and kept going?
It blowed up.
That means that,
Mine hit.
no, mine was a little bit.
Ricochet off.
I don't know how I did that.
I don't know how that happened.
All right, back to
I'm sorry, I was just really excited.
back to the raft. Hopefully you enjoyed what the Austin Woods and Waters Club's all about. If you haven't been a member, want to join, there's a sign up button on our Facebook page for you to sign up and become a member. We'd love to have you and join us to talk about hunting and fishing. Richard, do we need anything else? You're good over there? All right, again, thanks for joining us. Hope you had a good time. Please communicate with me or through the club website, austinwoodsandwaters.org. Hit that again, Richard, austinwoodsandwaters.org website. And let us know what you think about this. Should we do this again? Thanks, have a good day, and stay safe.
They want to see the target. There it is. Thank you. Good night.